He says, I asked Popper if he felt biologists are also too committed to Darwin's theory of natural selection. In the past, he has suggested that the theory is tautological and thus pseudo-scientific.
So here Horgan is really pressing the envelope. I mean, he's going after the sacred cow of evolutionary biology and asking Popper, is this also an area in which scientists are not sufficiently self-critical?
I remember Philip Johnson writing that natural selection is a tautology.
And that was the suggestion that Popper had said too, is that when you say the fittest survive, or only the fittest survive, well, how do you define the fittest? Well, it's those that survive. So it was circular. Now here he walks that back a bit.
Okay. He says, well, that was perhaps going too far. Popper said, waving his hand dismissively. I'm not dogmatic about my own views. Suddenly he pounded the table and exclaimed, one ought to look for alternative theories.
Yes. What's interesting about this is that most of our listeners, and I'm sure most of the American public, would be unaware that the so-called modern Neo-Darwinian synthesis has in fact collapsed among evolutionary biologists. It has traditionally been said that biological complexity is explicable in terms of the twin mechanisms of random mutation and natural selection. And that view now is largely rejected among evolutionary biologists. They have discovered that those are not the only mechanisms that drive evolutionary change forward, and that other sorts of mechanisms need to be taken into account. And so the kind of self-critical attitude that Popper expresses does need to be exercised, even with regard to these sacred cows like Neo-Darwinian evolutionary theory. And there is no new consensus to replace it. The field is currently in turmoil.
Wow.